Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with Dr. Sam Wagg at Fix a Body Group. Today we are going to be doing an analysis on me, my posture, and basically everything I do wrong, and some tips and exercises on how to improve like my mobility, I guess.
So I think what we talked about before is she's really mobile, and what we see in the office a lot of times, there's a lot of things that we need to release, but there's also things in our body that we need to strengthen so that our muscles can get back to doing the job that they're supposed to do and you don't feel pain. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you're one of these people that are really hypermobile, we're going to show you how you can strengthen that up so you can be mobile, but you can also have that strength and make sure you don't get hurt.
And what that, I guess, like looks like in everyday life is if you're always like clicking and you always like have to like crack your back and your chest and everything, like that usually means that you're hypermobile.
Yeah,
So
if you're finding like it's uncomfortable just to be seated, and you have this great range of motion, but it's creating a lot of popping and clicking, and it happens all the time, pretty constant. I'm going to show you can strengthen those muscles. You're not going to lose your mobility, but we're not going to get all this cracking and junky noises.
All right, let's get started.
Something I preach all the time. It's like, it's not about doing that crazy ass shit in the gym, but if you want to be able to do those, you need to do the hyper simple.
Right.
And I always go back to that example of like the marathon runner and the sprinter. You need to do the exercises that turn that on first.
Yeah, for sure.
We can explain. I'll explain that part.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great.
Let's. I would say, as long as you sound good with that, like have you go. I'll ask you to just do some mobility.
Oh, it sounds
stuff.
great. Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to just record, and we'll go from there. So to start, real simple. Just bend over as far as you can, feet together, down towards the floor. Good. All right. Come all the way back as far as you can with hands on your hips.
Here.
No, so like stand up again and then extend. How does that feel?
Feels good.
Okay. Come forward. Take your right hand up and then lean over to your left as far as you can. How's that feel? Let's go opposite. Good. Okay. Take a seat here on the edge. Face that way. Cross your arms up on your shoulders like a genie.
This way?
Yep. Rotate left as far as you can.
Rotate left.
Yep, yep. Okay, and then right as far as you can. Okay, drop your arms. Now bring your chin all the way down to your chest, so just range of motion on the neck. Good. Sit up tall for me. Bring your head all the way back. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder. So both your extensions are really mobile. Lift your left shoulder. And same thing with this, like really, really far. A lot further than we need to go.
Oh, really?
So with your extension, that one going back and then with your neck are both really far.
What's the difference between like mobility and flexibility?
I would say that's really the same.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. I guess if you're like picking hairs, if someone like they're really mobile, I would think of them as overall having like a quality of being mobile, meaning like everything was pretty good. So I think some people can be flexible in a certain thing, in like one stretch, right?
Right.
Like maybe just with their legs, but then like super tight somewhere.
Yeah.
Whereas there's people who are like globally tight and globally kind of mobile.
I see.
I think that's, and like, I don't even know that is like a true difference. Or
okay, so it's pretty much like interchangeable.
I would say, for the most part, it is. That's how I would view it as like a difference. I think you can be flexible in a certain range, but mobile is more of an overall, like, hey, like he's really mobile.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And I do think of when people think about mobility, of course you can break it down to one thing, like hip mobility, but I do think they're tending to talk about full body.
Full body mobility. Okay. Awesome.
First exercise we're going to start with, actually I'm going to have you go on all fours, so you can go here. We're going to get into this tabletop position. So this is a very, very simple position. The way we're going to set this up is with your head looking straight down. So we want to create this neutral spine. Her shoulders are parallel to the ground and so are her hips. I said this is a really simple position. We want to go into this because this is creating a pattern in your body that your small muscles, those little like marathon runners like we talked about, the muscles that provide stability, it's saying that has to happen first. So step one, your stability muscles need to fire. Now we're gonna add in some motion, so we're adding that second step. So from this position, I'm gonna have you take your arm and reach straight out. So keep your head down. We're gonna keep everything the same except this motion. So now bring your arm back. Switch hands, extend this one out. Good, and switch. So this should be fairly easy for her to perform, but we just want her to stay focused on keeping the shoulders completely level and her head straight down. Hips are staying where they are. So right now, this is creating and reinforcing neurologically this pattern in her body that step one, the small muscles that create stability have to work. Step two, now we use these big muscles to create motion. So just like in your golf swing, you need to have muscles holding you in position and then other ones creating the motion. So we can go ahead and stop this one. This should be a pretty easy exercise, but our progression will now be same position, going single leg.
Single leg,
and then
okay.
going single, alternating arm and leg. So we're just challenging that musculature in the spine more and more and more.
Should my lower back be arched or flat?
So we want to keep it neutral. So for anybody, if we get in this position, you should then be able to tuck just a little bit.
Okay.
So it kind
I
of
think I naturally arch a little bit
yeah, we
more.
don't want to drop into here.
Like
So
cow.
a little bit of a tuck.
Okay.
And now my shoulder blades, we don't want to be this either, where I'm really pushed up through my shoulder blades. So when I get here, kind of sinking that down.
Okay.
Just like the position that I would have if I was standing up and my shoulder blades are back.
Okay.
And then from here, keeping everything the same, you want to raise that arm.
Alternating.
So you should feel a challenge in your core. That should be engaged, and we're going to alternate.
What's just different for this one and the
So
one
now,
that's
keeping these the same, you're going to extend one leg at a time.
opposite?
So just going, think of keeping this nice and low to the ground, squeezing your glute at the top. Good. You don't have to go opposite yet with this.
Oh, okay.
So the progression is going to be go first, she already did arms, now we're going to go legs.
Oh.
Good. Keeping this nice and straight. You're trying to create a line from your ankle, knee, hip, and shoulder. Now extend here, but keep this flat.
Wow.
There we go. So you can see, or you can feel, when you switch, she has a tendency to slide to this way. So we're really going to focus on trying to keep her
Ooh.
in line for that exercise. Good.
So flat.
Good. Yep. Keeping this flat and this flat. So once you can perform this one well, when we would stay on this position for you, just working on this one until she gets really good for here. Because our next progression, so go ahead and pause, would be single leg, single arm at the same time.
Alternating?
Yep. So it's good. And she's fighting to keep this balanced. Good. It still has that shift here. So with you, we want to work to release some of the musculature that's drawing you over on this side. And we can do that by opening this up.
Yeah, I think I naturally have a little bit lack of
Good.
balance.
Go ahead and relax. So the next thing that we can do, when we were in that cat-cow or tabletop position here, and she's extending the leg, we kept seeing a lot of a drift over. So we want to try to build some more stability through this area without challenging her in this position. So let's have you lie on your back, face up, and we're going to put the band just below the knees.
Both?
Yep.
Okay.
Good. So, or sorry, just above.
Or just both.
Let's put the feet down. So from here, we're going to go into a glute bridge because we want to build strength in the glutes and challenge the musculature here, but we want to do this at the same time. When we try to isolate with her, it's creating a little bit of that drift. So from this position, you're going to draw your belly button to your spine, tuck your pelvis underneath, squeeze your glutes as you're gently driving out. So go ahead and squeeze. That should feel like, we just want to come to here, so tuck underneath. There we go. That should feel like you're 100% squeezing. I want you to pretend that you're turning back to 75% to lower yourself down.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
lower, lower, lower. Now back to 100% squeeze. Good. Down, lower, lower, lower. Back up. Up a little more. So we create that line through here. Good. Down. Let's come up one more time. Good. Now go on rest. How do you feel with that? Of thinking about engaging,
I
right?
like that 100 to 75.
Good. So we can use this as a way to engage that musculature and still create that pattern. Have to fire those small muscles that create stability, and then we can fire the muscles that create mobility or movement for her. So we're just going to challenge it from a different position. The next thing we want to look at is a stretch.
I feel it in my glutes.
Okay. So we can progress this one some different ways, and you can go into the single leg activity from here as well. So once we're up into a stabilized position, you can extend one leg and try to keep this level. So extend this knee. Good, but keep it right there. Good. Drop that down. Let's try to do one other one. So bend the knee.
I'll drop it. Okay.
Good. Keeping this up, and you're extending here.
This way?
Nope, nope. Kick it out.
Kick it out.
Yep, but on this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
Was that karma for the directions that you said earlier? Go ahead, down. Good.
Really good.
And that down. Good, relax. So you can see how we can take that through a progression, but it has to be kind of specific to you. And what we saw with you is upper body was easier to control through here, but we can still build more strength. Lower body, we have a little bit of work to do. So let's give you some homework to shore up these, and then we'll be able to check in a couple weeks.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we're gonna go through a stretch to release this lower left side of the back. What we're gonna do is take our right leg, position it out like this. Left leg is tucked in. With our right arm, we're gonna reach forward and grab the toes. If you can't grab your toes, just reach as far forward as you can. From here, so I want you to square up and open your chest. So imagine you're creating a straight line from your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder to your other shoulder. And now I'm reaching up. We want to create a big arch. Keep your chest open and now lean over as far as you can. We should feel a nice deep stretch through this area. When she was extending her legs, we kept seeing this shift over to the right side because we have so much tension compressing and pulling down the ribs to the top of the head. So using this stretch, we can release a few different tissues to free up this area. So you're gonna hold for about 20 seconds.
Yeah, I can really feel it. Like right
We're just gonna get
over,
this all
like
the way
here, when you open up.
Yep. And now if we wanna release even more of this area, she can drop her chest and now just reach straight through and really try to pull as far as we can. Now we're gonna get even more into the low back musculature.
Okay.
So that's a great way to stack those stretches together and really effectively release that area.
So if other people can't be as flexible here,
Right.
well,
So we can still reach. So in step one, it's like we can still reach for the toes as far as we can. We want to square up our shoulders. So we're here. We want to create this nice arch through here. So even if you're not flexible and this is as far as you can go, we're still going to be effectively releasing this because it's all about how tight those tissues are for you. For you, you have to get a lot further to start to feel the
I
stretch.
see. Okay, so then this is the other stretch here.
Yeah, so the homework that I'm going to have you do is this stretch. We're going to do at least 3 sets of 20 to 30 second holds, opening up this area. We're also going to do that glute bridge with the band to start to build those strength and that balance in the pelvis. And that's what we're going to start with. We're going to have you also do that first exercise that we went through with the arm extensions.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right.
Very, very nice. Because like I think sometimes I hear like, oh, it's actually really bad for you and you get arthritis, and then sometimes people say like, oh, it's good.
It's kind of tricky because it's all context, right? If someone is like, adjusting my neck okay, and then I watch them and they're like, oh my God. You're like, dude, yeah. You're like, so I just sneak up. You're like, I sneak up behind myself. That's a little scary.
Okay.
But if someone, like a lot of times patients will say this, so like, well, when I turn my head, like I hear some noise.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's totally fine, and that's like normal.
Yeah.
Because we want you to be mobile, we want you to have range of motion.
Right.
Because all that I'm doing is like really specifically restoring the range of motion in a certain area.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to have you stabilize it or strengthening.
Okay.
But if you're forcing something like hyperextending,
Got it.
over time that's going to make
Okay.
the joint worse.
So maybe I can show you a couple things I do and you can tell me if it's recommended or not.
We could go through like, here's how you can get flexibility in your neck.
Instead of breaking it.
Shortening your life.
Yeah, because like I do my chest.
Shortening your life.
There are a couple, like the neck ones are the only like, you know, if you do some weird thing in your shoulder or like your elbow or like
that's
who knows what,
Yeah.
those probably aren't gonna really shorten you, right? Are those joints gonna wear out a little faster? Yeah, but the neck ones are where you actually could really danger yourself, because your basilar artery goes straight down on the side like this. So when you see people do that, it's like if you just overstretch
that's
you're gonna bleed out. Okay,
I won't do that. It feels so good though.
But that's like when I adjust, and we can do some adjustment stuff later, but their head is already flexed forward, and we're having this and a little rotation. I'm not adding any more length to that artery.
Got it.
So we're not in danger of something happening.
I see.
But that's like, for some like long answer to that for yourself, like the neck is the only really scary one of like
what
a lot
about,
of rotation.
Like, chest. So like
it's different. That's more like back and here.
Yeah, it's like the sternum.
A lot of people, that's a funny question, because they'll say like, I've heard other like doctors answer like, well, it just doesn't crack. It's like, well, we only do have one small like intersegmental piece, and that's a big bone. But just like we were talking about with like your fabric, right? Imagine if I go to do this and all of a sudden that fabric unwinds, it might sound like a crack.
So also it's not a crack.
So sometimes we are just releasing tissue, not just that musculature.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
So that's good. Okay.
I'm okay with you doing a motion. You're not forcing something in extension.
Yeah.
I would say if you always have to do that, we should look at some strengthening that we should do and some other things. Yeah. So that's the other part where, or I guess that comes into play, is like, hey, I do this. Well, if you're doing something to create motion, that's good, but if that becomes, I need to do this every single day, I'd be like, if you brought your vehicle in, you're like, well, I just put new tires on every morning. I mean, you could do that.
Technically,
and you would just have like great tires.
Okay.
You don't need to do that if you're
doing steps.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
so, like,
I
you
would
could get a lot more life
day.
out of it, just where it's like, you're gonna get enough life, don't worry. But we could do more things to support that. Where you don't need to constantly
feel like you have to do it.
Break.
Yeah. Okay. I have this one too, and then this one.
Like again, the way you're doing it, it's not a bad thing. But the amount of motion that you get, like how loud that is, every time, you're almost like forcing hypermobility.
Right.
Because if you're needing to do that like every half hour, right, and to feel comfortable, we're creating some
I wonder
hypermobility.
if it's because like I'm used to it, so it feels good, so I do it, or if it's
because within like about every 20 minutes, like just earlier I did that with my finger. Right now, same thing, you don't hear anything. But in about 20 minutes, that gas will build back up, and I could do that and it would make a noise.
Right.
I could do certain things that just make a noise all the time.
Yeah.
That's not making me feel way better. It's not like
it's like a habit, probably
when
like
we reposition something. So I would say for you, if you're needing to do that all the time on like a high frequency, you want to build more strength in like your spinal column.
Yeah, that would make sense. I don't have that much strength. I don't go to the gym. I'm really lazy. Like when it comes to like cardio.
I'll show you some super simple exercises.
But I do yoga if that helps. But
I mean, you're clearly like you're really mobile. But in some areas, like it's forcing a hypermobility.
Yeah.
Like if you just did that and it made no noise, like once or twice in the day, I would expect that.
Right.
But if all the time we're getting that,
I would say probably like couple hours I could do that.
I think we should look more at some strength.
That would be really good for my segment. But last one, so it didn't come out today. But it normally does that.
You probably feel like a kind of traction.
Yeah.
So this is how I would look at it.
Yeah.
Your muscles in your body can do two things: either stabilize or create mobility. So think of like a marathon runner or a sprinter.
Yeah.
Normally, those marathon runners are working all the time to stabilize your spine.
Yeah.
That way, the sprinters can move things and work when they're supposed to. When you put yourself in a position or you do certain things, your body is going to shift and kind of like use the tools that it has to do what it needs to do. So, if you're hypermobile, it's going to ask some of those muscles.
But I am.
Right. You have more mobility than we need.
Oh, okay.
So the muscles, like your marathon runners that provide that stability for you, like they're a little less involved than they should be.
Yeah.
Where your sprinters that should just be working some of the time are getting asked to work a lot.
Like more
and
the marathon.
when you kind of do that, they're like, I don't know. It's not the best analogy for exactly what
that makes sense.
On.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It's like we need to shift back to having those marathon runners doing more of the work. So you have that stability.
Yeah.
Because then it shouldn't feel like these other muscles are doing the work. Because that's kind of what creates that uncomfortability for you.
Right.
And like most people, if you put you in that really good posture, you're like, that doesn't feel good. But if we released your fabric that's like really tight in here, because if I put a jacket on that was like this and super tight, I'll sit up tall, you're like, this does not feel good.
Yeah, right.
But if we could release this and then we made this a lot stronger, it'd be easy for you to sit like that.
Okay.
And you wouldn't, like for you in that example of, if we get same thing, though, get your neck where you want to be, get this back, you wouldn't feel like you need to constantly like
do whatever.
Get this damn jacket off.
Yeah.
you're like breaking out of that jacket every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. And then it's like coming back. Right. So
yeah,
it's kind of like,
okay.
you know,
that'd be great. Yeah, if we could have like some exercises and whatnot, or posture.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like,
I don't think that many people have.
All right, folks, that's a wrap. Thank you so much to Dr. Sam.
Thanks for having me.
For really giving me tips and homework to help improve like strength in certain areas and mobility.
Yeah,
and
we worked on some mobility and some strength.
Yeah. So don't forget to subscribe to their channel. We're gonna link it right over here. And you also have locations all over San Diego.
Exactly. If you're looking for help and you want to see us in person, you can see me in Rancho Bernardo or at our office in Mission Valley. We also have a location in Scottsdale, Arizona.
If you enjoyed this video and you want more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. And we'll see you next time. Bye!